Welcome back everyone to Data Science for Everyone. Today we're going to be talking about Python basics, and this is going to start off with a little bit of a new series, so the Python basics series, and we're going to go on to do and have a full-fledged series on data science with Python. Now today, let's just talk about kind of what we want the series to become and what it's going to be and what we're going to be covering. So first off, we want to kind of produce fluency, okay, particularly Python procedural programming, using assignments, conditionals, and loops, to also to be able to potentially create Python modules and programs. Second, I'd also like to create some competency in object-oriented programming, and also allow students to recognize the use of objects and classes. And further, we want to explore the knowledge of the foundations of data science. Now, why Python? Python has low overhead. That basically means that it's very easy to learn and just to kind of start doing. It's pretty easy for beginners, and it's also designed for rapid prototyping in mind. It also is very useful for non-computer science majors. Okay, so this is particularly useful for NumPy, SciPy, and Pandas, which are going to be heavily used throughout this course. And also, it's also a very modern language. So it's popular for web applications, applications for mobile app development, as well as it's just a standard tool now in almost any data scientist's toolkit. So topics that we are going to cover, we're going to start out with data types, numbers, strings, printing, lists, dictionaries, booleans, tuples, and sets. And then we're going to continue on for comparison operators, if, else statements, for loops, while loops, the range function, list comprehension, functions themselves, lambda expressions, map, and filter, as well as methods. And then we'll also probably add in discussion of modules as well. Now, let's just go on and start right off talking about data types. So the first type that we have are numbers. Now this has to do with floats and integers. But first, the type of float. Okay, these are real numbers. So when we talk about a float, it has to do with this decimal notation that we have here. Okay, and again, without a decimal, it would be an integer. Now it's operations. Okay, what are we allowed to use it with? This is the plus sign, the minus sign, the multiplication. So for the star, division, as well as exponents, which is the double star here. Now, notice, again, I'll say this all throughout the series, okay, is that this operator meaning changes from type to type, whether it is a number, so something like our float and our integers, or whether it is a string or a boolean. It does have different meanings. Okay, we also have exponential notation or exponent notation, okay, using the e. All right, this is to assist us with very large numbers. And again, now one thing that we have different with the integers themselves, okay, we have this, we have all of our standards, okay, but we also have this double. So this is for integer division and the mod operator, which is for remainder division. And let's actually maybe kind of get started with these examples. So we can use Python as a basic calculator. So something like 2 plus 3 is going to give us 5. Okay, we can also do maybe something like 3 multiplied by 3 should give us 9. Let's also maybe do some division so we can see that as well. And we'll do both the different types of division. So let's do something like 1 divided by 4. Okay, and then we can also now do something like, well, let's go on and just do the basics first. So let's do 2 to the 4. Okay, so we get our 16. So for our exponents, we can also do mod. So let's do 4 mod 2. Okay, now this will give us 0. Okay, but if we do something like 5 mod 2, notice this gives us 1 because this is, think about this, the mod, okay, or modulo, depending on how you want to say it, kind of is going to be equivalent to remainder. Again, something that we all used in primary school. So the next thing we can also do is it deals with order of operations. So for example, if we do 2 plus 5 multiplied by 3 minus 8, okay, this will follow the order of operations to give us the correct answer. Now let's maybe go on to a little bit of some variable assignment, okay, before we start getting too far ahead of ourselves. And before we move on to strings. So variable assignment allows us to basically name things, okay? So let's create something like x is equal to 2 and y is equal to 5, okay? So now we can actually recall these. So x now is going to be equal to 2. Now notice here we just have a single equal sign, okay, and this is the assignment operator. Okay, so you can call this the equal sign, but again it is the assignment operator. So we can also then take, so again notice that it saves that value here, and just to prove the point, okay, we can also do y as well. And if we want to, we can also use them in our addition. Okay, we can do subtraction with them as well. And again, we can pass them around as however we like. So maybe now let's go on to our basic type for strings. So strings are text. Okay, you can use them. They're basically, think about them as a sequence. Okay, a sequence of characters. Now we can use them for concatenation. So that's just using the plus operator here, and that basically glues them together. That creates it merges them together. Now one thing that we need to look at though is that we can use double quotes, okay, such as this. We can use single quotes as well, such as this. So if we use this concatenation, okay, it applies only to strings. So AB plus BC is going to be ABCD. However, if we try and do AB plus 2, that's going to produce an error for us. So let's just kind of show how all of this works. So first, let's do, this is just single quotes. And so again, if I run that again, you can see here that it's just going to be single quotes. It's fine. Then we are also going to have, we're going to have double quotes. Okay, that works as well. We can also assign them, but now we use, before we go into that, there's one thing that we probably need to really discuss here, and that can be that, for example, I don't like the snow. Okay. Now notice here, this is all fine. Okay, everything. If you notice, the syntax highlighting isn't messed up here, and if we run this, it will be fine. But if I use this single quote here, I don't like the snow, we have a little bit of an error here. Okay, and or it will produce an error. Notice here syntax highlighting is on, here syntax highlighting turned off. What this is that this turned it into a string, but it basically they find pairs, okay? Python finds pairs. And so it grabbed this quote here, and then went and it found the next quote, and then it stopped. And then it started going again, and then again it tried to create another pairing here. So all of this here would create an error, and let's actually maybe just run this just so you can see. So look here, it tells us here that we have a syntax error and then we have invalid syntax, and it kind of tries the best of its ability. It says this is where the error happened. Now one thing that we can do to fix this error, okay, I'm going to actually leave that up on the screen. I'm going to copy this and bring it down here. Is we can use an escape character. We can use the backslash, and notice now everything works out well, and I would get rid of that extra parentheses there. That works well, but if we want to not have this error happening, we would actually stick with the double quotes, okay? You don't have to use the escape character at all. So as a general rule, I tell people to kind of stick with the double quotes. It will assist you over time because again, you won't have to be searching for small errors like this. So now let's talk about printing. Okay, so the print statement is one of the most powerful. Now, I've been using this because we're using Google Colab. It's very similar to a Jupyter Notebook, but it allows you to have this interactive programming. But if I ran this as a script, none of this would actually pop out at me. It wouldn't actually give me any messages, nothing, okay? It would just kind of roll on by like it didn't even exist. In order to have things print out to the console or to your window, you need to use the print function, okay? So like this. Now, here we can just say something like, hello, YouTube. Okay, and we run this, and again, notice now it actually prints out, and if we see from before, notice, here they had quotes, okay? Up top we had quotes, but down below, now we don't have quotes because it actually transformed it into some proper output text for us. So we can use this in a lot of different ways. So let's say something like, let's set name is equal to, my name is Markham. And so we can do print, hello, and then we can put in a name here. And notice now it says, hello, Markham. And this is great. So for later on, if you want to start having maybe some interactive user interfaces, those types of things, you can actually start doing that. And later on, when we get into more machine learning, we'll be using this a lot in order to create some more useful printouts for us whenever we're looking at the result of maybe a linear regression model or something. So the next one, let's give a little bit more complex example. So let's maybe choose a number, and let's say we want, or you know what, let's change this. So let's age is equal to 30, name is equal to John, and then you can do something like this. Now there are a couple different ways that we can format, okay? So as of Python 3.8, you can use f-string formatting, and then we can also use the dot notation. Right now, let me just show you the dot notation. So something like print, and we'll do something like name. Actually, you know what? We can actually use just the F notation for now. So name is age years old. And we run this, we see now John is 30 years old. Now again, this will only work for what? For Python 3. I believe it's 3.7, maybe it's 3.8. Well, 3.8. Okay, and I'm going to put a question mark there. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was either 3.7 or 3.8 where we started to be able to use F strings. And actually, maybe for this course, I will start using maybe just the more up-to-date methods. It's a little bit nicer because it's a little bit quicker, and we notice here that it's going to just grab whatever we want here. And again, if we wanted to maybe do some math in here, we could. So something like this. We'll have this also print out John, and we'll change this to maybe will be, and we'll do something like, let's say 5. So we'll be X years old in 5 years. So if we run that now, notice it actually we can actually put in that expression, and it will actually add that to our 30. So now instead we can actually have a little bit of interaction in there, which is very nice for us to use. So I think I've actually recorded enough for this section here. Next up will be lists, and we'll discuss more about lists and dictionaries in the next episode. So thanks for watching and tuning in. If you really like this, please subscribe and click a like. It really helps out. I appreciate it, guys. See you next time.